As a rescue director with fully trained adoptable dogs, this is a question that comes through a lot in our adoption contract or applications. It comes through in our social media communications with the public. People will often comment on Facebook albums where we're promoting a certain adoptable dog and say, are they kid friendly? And so what I want you guys to know is that when we receive that question, as the rescue organization, here's what we hear. When we hear you ask, are they good with kids? We hear, can I turn my back on them when my kids are playing with them outside? Can I leave them in the yard and not worry that there's going to be a problem? Can I allow them to sleep together or cuddle together on the couch and everything will be fine? The puppy will allow my child to touch them at any time or take things from them or even hang on them or play with them in a certain way. And what I really need you to understand is that any dog, no matter what, is a risk for biting, whether children or adults, because that is one of their only means of communication if they're under pressure, uncomfortable, feeling defensive, or feeling entitled to correct and give consequences to other animals, we being an animal as well. So when you ask that question, what you need to be asking, what your intention needs to be, and a better way to phrase it, especially for a rescue organization who's giving you a secondhand dog and likely not a puppy in most cases, is how much experience has the dog had with children? How sound is the dog? How much do they tolerate physical touch and handling? Are they comfortable around a lot of stressors, a lot of noise, a lot of crazy and action? Are they comfortable around kid crying and a busy family life? How much experience have they had? How much exposure? That's going to give you a little bit more insight into whether or not a dog is going to blend more seamlessly in with your family. But no matter what, when you ask that question, you need to be prepared that any dog coming into your family with children should be 100% supervised and set up for success by teaching your children how to be appropriate and respectful of dogs, as well as teaching that dog to be appropriate and respectful of your children. By no means, even if a dog moving through our organization has had a lot of experience with children, would we ever advocate that you can turn your back on them interacting with your kids, particularly in those early months, getting that dog acclimated to your family and established in your family dynamic. You really have to go slow, test the waters in a controlled manner, and respect time. It takes time for you to get certain insights about your new dog, no matter where they may come from or how much experience they may be able to say, we may be able to say that they've had. Some dogs will still be in circumstances where the children aren't necessarily the issue for them in that moment, but that it's a cumulative stress of numerous things going on or things that have happened in sequence that have pushed the dog to a place of feeling uncomfortable, stressed, defensive, etc. So you really have to apply some common sense here. It is a predatory animal. They do only have so many ways to communicate with us. Pressure, teeth, barking. These are their primary tools that they can use, their body, to tell us that things are not working for them in that moment, that they're uncomfortable, or that they just simply dislike a situation. And it can come from entitlement as well as nervousness and insecurity. Not all dogs who bite are fearful. That being said, if you plan for the worst and you have lots of structure and accountability and lots of advocacy in your dynamic introducing a dog into your family, regardless of where they come from, you'll have the best chance at establishing a relationship with your children that is mutually respectful, that is founded on appreciating the differences between our species, and that understands that a dog is always, always, always a bite risk no matter what. It's just entirely possible that even a very, very good dog after many, many years living with children has an ear infection that you don't see, or there's pain in a joint, or they have some sort of developing health issue that you can't perceive that could preclude them from being tolerant of certain touch that they previously didn't have a problem with. So there could be always a factor and possibility that that dog would put their teeth on you, and you have to be conscientious about that and be careful and respectful. It's never appropriate for children to hit, pull on, stand on, climb on a dog. Those are immediate ways to risk a dog biting your child. But there are certainly things that you can do to build that dog's tolerance of the sights, sounds, and smells of children, to increase that dog's acceptability, adaptability around children handling it, walking it on leash, giving it corrections and direction, playing with it appropriately, things that will build a bond and a respect with your children and increase your ability to relax and trust your dog more so over time. So I just really wanted to address that question. We get that question a lot. Are they kid friendly? Are they good with kids? And I would much prefer to start shifting our public perception that when you are interested in adopting a dog and you're looking for a dog to bring in your family, that you have a 100% sense of responsibility and respect, that a dog is always capable of biting, that children are always at risk of inviting that behavior because they're erratic, they are unpredictable, they are much crazier and less aware of themselves. They have much less sense of intuition and instinct, that they need to respect the predatory aspects of an instinctual behavior in a dog. And that's your job as the parent to make sure to advocate and address those things. But that setting yourself up for success and bringing a dog into your home means asking how much experience have they had? Are they well conditioned? If they're a young puppy, they still ideally would be exposed to lots of sights and sounds and smells in their early development weeks of whelping up to 8, 9, 12 weeks of age. There's a lot that should be patterned and exposed to a puppy to get them ready for a family life and being good with children. But then even in the next 2, 3, 4, 6 months of their development, exposing them to children, teaching them about appropriate relaxation when they're being handled and tolerance of restraint, things like that, that will help promote their adaptability with children and their hardiness to deal with what might happen when all of your safety nets fail. So asking that question, how much experience has this dog had with kids? Do they come from a parentage where they were, their line dating back is great with kids. They're sound, they're solid, they tolerate a lot of chaos and nonsense and physical pressure. Have they had other children around them in the rescue process, in their dynamic or former owner arrangements? This will give you a lot of information. If you're adopting a, adult dog that has never been exposed to children, or it can't be guaranteed that it's been exposed to children, then you need to consider that to be a very serious situation of going very, very slowly, keeping lots of safety mechanisms in place, sort of rotating and slowly bringing that dog into interactions with your child through baby gates, separating them, creating them in the same space as children and their activities and sounds, walking them with your child, having your dog learn to place and just chill out on a downstay in the same environment, and having children respect not going over to them when they're laying down. There's a reason we have a phrase, let sleeping dogs lie. A lot of children get bit when they are climbing on, startling a dog that is sleeping or at rest or otherwise in a downstay where they do not feel they have the choice to move away from that child. And these can often be the things that get folks into the most trouble of having a child being harmed. So thank you so much, guys, for hanging out and watching with me today. Just wanted to address that question. How much exposure has this dog had to children in the past? How hardy are they? Do they startle easier, or are they a dog that really isn't bothered by anything going on in the environment? These are going to be context clues that will tell you more about whether or not that dog might be a good fit for your family. But always, 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 that question cannot be asked, especially in a rescue context, with the desire to relax and not pay attention and not be 100% in management of the interactions your children may share with your dog. Your puppy growing up in your home is more likely to become accustomed to those sights and sounds and hardy and tolerant of those things because of conditioning. That's why a lot of people believe if they're going to bring a dog into their family with children, that they should start with a puppy so they know it, so the dog is accustomed to it. There is such a thing as that conditioning, and rescue dogs, if they haven't been conditioned, are going to often struggle a hell of a lot more to be a good match in that dynamic. They need more management. You need to respect that you've got to blend that relationship slowly and systematically, and that it may not be what you see in Hallmark television, right? This ideal that we can get a dog, lay and fawn all over it, and not have any consequences to that behavior. It's unnatural to our dogs to have that type of pressure, that intensity of physical touch that often comes with how children behave around them. We have to teach both to respect and be appropriate with each other. All right, guys? Talk to you soon. Have a great day.